Hello. See if everything's working right, maybe ish. There we go. Gold star goes to LS. Dad does silver, bronze to C103, and Wes is the sheriff. No, Kilder's the sheriff. Chipper, you don't get a star, man. You're like you're too late, too slow. You can have a sticker, like a little the little peel off stickers out of the coloring book things. Yes, you get the honorable mention. Yes, we're home. Robert. Who's typing, Robert or Cindy? I never know whether to say hey Robert or hey Cindy.
I just say more.
Yeah, more. Let's call hey LLC. BA had a big old live stream, didn't he? A bunch of people in there tonight. Robert. Okay, Robert. Oh. Well, if you're listening, hi, Cindy. That'll work, Chipper. Just keep an eye on him in case you get to take over. Hello, Papa Prep. And Rachel. Dad, you say that, and what, the last 3 days? In the last 3 days, I've bought, or 4 days. I've been at the grocery store a couple times and bought stuff that, one time I bought ammo, one time I bought a large bag of beans, a large bag of rice. And both times the lady at the register asked a baited question about, what I was buying and say anything much, but, yeah, the phrases they used were ones that I've heard in these chats left and right. So there's a lot more people out there than doing this stuff than the ones that get on here and publicly pronounce their dedication know about. Hey, Hillbilly. And who, Jerome? Hello, Jerome. Oh, North Kentucky Preparedness. Oh, you're welcome. I ate too much fish. I want just a little bit of indigestion. So if I burp on y'all, that's what's going on. Oh, sorry for yawning. I took daytime cough medicine, and apparently it doesn't care. It didn't read its own label. Why you go get shot up? That's funny. I guess it'd be different if there were actually duties that came with the deals. I don't know why I started giving those stars. I'm just the kind of guy that likes to give out gold stars. Okay. I don't even know when I popcorned out of bed this morning. I don't remember. Whereas this morning that I did it, I woke up and then said, this is stupid, and went back to bed.
You woke up and we were all up, and then you went back to bed, and then she went back to bed.
Okay, yeah, that was this morning. Hey, Boski.
Which isn't a lie.
Well, yeah, I mean, one of these ladies, I'm pretty sure, was interested in knowing if we were into it, and that's know where she works. I'll put feelers out about this. Bonus side to it is, unlike several preppers is there any way to back out of this and say it politically correct? Unlike a few preppers that I have met, she is gainfully employed and seems to be taking care of her own business, not expecting everybody else to take care of her business for her. So that makes me interested in getting to know her. And hopefully her husband, would be, a couple's less trouble than a single. Hey, Frank. Tina. You got all the big channels and 90% of the little channels have said this already, but you can't lone wolf this mess. You can't board yourself up in your bunker with a year's worth of beans and rice and water and make it. You'll start bashing your face on the wall, man. Well, if you're the kind of person that can spend a year and a half isolated in a dungeon with nothing but old westerns and stuff like that, it's going to make for a rather interesting civilization. Let's put it that way. We really want some of the more socially interactive people to survive. So we need groups. And I don't think I've ever met anybody that can truly be alone for that length of time. Even people that want to be alone a lot, which happens to be me. And hey, just and Mrs. West over there, I mean, we like our alone time, but I don't want it to be just me. There's a lot of times that it's okay if I want to go fishing or hunting or whatever. I just have to go by myself. I don't go. Not every time. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I'm perfectly fine going and spending a couple of days by myself. Actually, good for me. Oh, Sid's dad is it's pronounced Sid's dad. His child's name is Sid, so he just played on the deal. Yeah, it's tricky. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly right, Papa Prep. I mean, you know, when the rabbit pops up out of the hole and he's the only rabbit in amongst a bunch of foxes, he's not going to last long. Everybody thinks they're going to be the one fox in a bunch of rabbits, and I'm sorry, have you ever seen what happens to a tomcat when he jumps on a pack of rats in a barn? The rats will turn on that cat and they will shred him. And it's not pretty. 10 or 15 rats jumping all over that cat. Seen it happen more than once. Hey, Rooster. You know, I don't get the lone wolf mentality thing. I understand not wanting to trust everybody and their dog, but thinking that you're going to be able to do this alone, I just can't wrap my head around that. And thinking that, people are going to find it in their hearts to make nice with you after the fact when you didn't help them survive above ground. And then, they're all lean, mean, and scarred and beat up and missing fingers, toes, piece of their noses. And you come out all fat and happy. I don't think they're going to be real happy with you. I know I wouldn't. Because I'd be like, well, he may be out of food and everything, but I guarantee he still got some ammo. Oh, Westwind's not there? Westwind doesn't love us anymore. Oh, he's probably at work, huh? Yeah. And it's worth giving it, that's why you got to get to know folks. Before, and I know I go on a Walking Dead thing sometimes or whatever and talk about it, but the group dynamics on The Walking Dead, when they had trouble in the group, it was because they were forming a group out of a bunch of strangers trying to work through and handle stuff, in Tiawaki that they hadn't discussed about. They were having run into it cold, and everybody was wanting to go with their best idea. That's where almost every one of their inter-group difficulties came from, was the fact that they weren't a group before it started. They'd form one after. What'd Savage say?
No, I said Savage. Baby's listening.
Huh. Ah, so she takes after your dog, huh? At least she hadn't started trying to bite the computer or nothing yet. Yeah, but who's going to drag people outside the compound and slit their throat because they got influenza before they learned to work together? Who's going to go over and talk to the other group against the wishes of the entire group and cause a war and the death of over half of your people? It's People can pull together, but will they pull together? There are some people out there that consider themselves to be in the right frame of mind for leadership or a position of authority, and they're not. Simply because some of them have too much compassion and others don't have enough. A good leader isn't my way or the highway. Now, a good leader is after I've made a decision, that's the way it's going to be, which is completely different than my way or the highway. I really hope I wind up in a group where I'm just like some, hey, go get us a cup of coffee guy. That's my job of choice. Okay, boss, let me go see. All we got's instant. That gonna be okay? And then I'll go out and boil water and mix up a cup of coffee while they decide whether or not we're gonna go toe to toe with the other bunch of guys that have ARs and stuff. Whenever they decide to go, they'll be like, okay, I'm gonna stay and guard the coffee. I'm gonna guard the coffee and the ladies. Smart. Got a plan.
I have 2 close-ish contacts.
See, that's the deal with my family union. I can't depend on my family unit. There's no way that.
Well, half of them expect the government to take care of them.
Yeah, you got my 2 oldest boys. They have, if it splits down the lines that it looks like it's going to split down, they're going to be pointing guns at me. So, my nieces and nephews, they're going to be pointing guns at me.
Not all of them.
No,
some. Half of them are good, half of them are bad.
Yeah, but little David, I think, he would be an asset.
He would be okay, but his wife would never make it. She's just health issues and stuff anyway.
Yeah. What's messed up about it, I think there's a couple of skinny David's kids that, if it happened the next year or so, you could salvage.
Yeah.
But, his wife's done ruined the others. And this is getting way too personal up on this YouTube thing here. See, we think about this stuff. We think about who we know, whether or not they would be able to gel with us and with other people, whether or not they're, this is people in our everyday lives that, could wind up here and trying to help them and them trying to help us. We think about it. We want to be able to make a decision about them as they walk up the driveway. I mean, yeah. And we don't do it down, or try not to do it down religious or political lines either. Because there's guys out there with different political views that I could get along with great if there wasn't a government. So. Which is like a utopia type thing. Dad been listening to me, or Dad's son's been listening to many of my YouTube videos, I guess. And that's another thing. I mean, I do not want a guy in my group that says, I don't care, my kids are going to eat first. My kids are going to eat first. My kids, okay, your kids eat 3 days in a row. You go without food 3 days in a row. You go out there, you have a chance to accomplish something that's going to allow your kids to eat for 2 weeks. Your body doesn't allow you to get it done because you're calorie depleted. You can't deny them food and leave them to starve, but everybody eats. If there's only so many calories, then, the little people, need 3,000 calories a day. Big person needs 5,000 calories a day. And there's only enough to go for so long. Little people get 1,500 calories a day. Big guy gets 2,500 calories a day. Enough to keep you going. You don't starve yourself to a point where you're going to have to let your kids starve to death because you've let yourself go too far. It gets to a point where they're going to starve to death and there's nothing you can do about it. You've got them a few days worth of groceries standing right in your shoes. Hopefully you taught them how to cook. I'm going to go get a cup of coffee. I'll be right back. Hold on. I don't want to scare you. Don't get scared of the black gun. It doesn't. It's not. It's okay. It's Tanya's house, bro. What are you doing? When you think about getting into them turkeys or that hen, dog. We went and bought turkeys today because we're going to can them. As soon as we find jars, they'll fit in.
They don't make me that fat.
No, we didn't get big enough jar. I don't think we can get one of those pickle jars.
The false water's looking kind of shaky.
It's behind me on the wall. I'd say that I'd be more worried about the fly swatter in this house. I've had more than one red spot on me from that thing. Not necessarily that one, but anyway. I missed that. Have y'all ever seen the Texas fly swatters? Those were fun. They didn't work. They were too big. You use them for a fan, though. They're a yardstick with a swatter on it about the size of a dinner plate. Yeah. I don't know. Why not just fix it so you don't have to put yourself in a situation where your kids don't have to go without eating? Problem solved. You've got 14 Glocks, 16 ARs, and 2 months worth of groceries. What is wrong with that picture? How many 72-hour kits, freeze-dried 72-hour kits, can you buy for the price of one of those ARs? Yep. How many packages of mac and cheese will one of those Glocks buy? I mean, you can't walk around, but what I mean, I guess you could strap 2 pistols. And I don't know why you would, but if you wanted to carry more than 1 rifle, you could. But I can't see you carrying 3. I've got an assortment of rifles that were all extremely cheap. That SKS, me and my brother bought ours at the same time. I paid $127 for mine. He paid $132 for his. And then he said he didn't want it, and he gave it to me a year ago. He's like, I've never shot this. He's literally never shot the gun. I think I'm the only person that's ever shot it. That's how I wound up with that one. Now, I did buy a pistol the other day. But I bought that. I mean, that's the first pistol I bought since my other 2 pistols were stolen. And I bought it because my other 2 were stolen. So, yeah.
I'll just keep praying. Yeah, but they're only going to last so long.
And see, that's the other. There's only so much hunting. Me and Rob are fairly decent shots. Okay. Better out there. But on dove, I'm about a 40% shooter. I get a bird 40% of the time I pull the trigger. I'm gonna run out of ammo and starve to death in Tijuana if I try eating dove. Now, I've only pulled the trigger on 1 deer. No, two. But that one was a crazy, stupid, long, far shot. But still, 2 deer. 2 deer that I didn't get to eat. One of them, long story. A.S. Woods, Kentucky. Yeah, I'm not going to say all that. I think is that it. I miss anybody else? Anyway, you can't hunt. There's going to be too many people hunting. There's not going to be any food. 3 months in, not going to be any game. There's too many people. 1 doe will produce enough protein for 4 adults for 1 week. That means you have to kill a deer a week. 2 couples would have to kill a deer a week just to meet their protein requirements. And that doesn't meet their fats, their vitamins, their carbohydrates, nothing, just protein. You will starve to death. You will starve to death on a straight protein diet. You will starve to death and quit. You will stop functioning. You will go stupid. You'll wind up eating bushes. You'll be over there gnawing the bark off a tree because your body is so hungry for something else. Your belly will be full of meat and you'll be starving to death.
The only problem with pigeons and rats is the diseases.
Yeah.
If you don't have sanitary conditions and you already have animals getting sicknesses, imagine what it's going to be like. When you had all those plagues in the olden days, they're going to come back.
Yeah. They're just lurking. They're just being held at bay with antibiotics and sanitation right now. Drager. Thank you. Boosh. That's like so cool when I do that. Thank you, Drager. Getting closer to that fishing trip every time. And people talk about that. I mean, how many calories are on a rat? And do you know to make out eating rabbit and squirrel? There's a trick to it. There's a trick to surviving off a rabbit and squirrel. How many of y'all people can do it? You have to neck shoot it or shoot it through the heart or snare it. Then you have to suck the brain out of its skull to get the fat on the rabbit or the squirrel. You have to eat the liver and the heart for the vitamins and the minerals. And then to get the fiber and carbs and stuff you need on the rabbit, you have to eat the stomach. Not clean it out and eat the stomach. You have to eat what the rabbit was eating. I mean, you have to boil the stomach with its contents in it. Then you have to eat the whole mass. Just because you think you can later don't mean you can. You better start practicing now.
Without passive hunting, you're more calories than you're getting.
Yeah, passive hunting still takes a lot of calories, running the snares and stuff. And when the snare is successful, chances are you can run it twice, the same snare. If you're lucky, you can use the same snare wire twice. And after that, now the snare cable, yeah, you can use it more often or whatever. But I don't trust snare cable as much. All the animals got to do is get lucky and let a bit of slack off of it at the right time, and then they're not in it anymore. And when you first start running your snare lines, if you're fairly successful, guess what's going to happen? You're going to deplete the population of the animals you're snaring, and you're going to have to keep spreading your area and make it bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And you can't eat the stomach of the rat because you don't know what the rat's eating. Rats don't care. Rabbits do. Rabbits eat bushes and stuff. You can eat that. It's not going to kill you. Rats, you don't know what they're eating. You can't eat that. Some fish, you don't know what they're eating. You can't eat that. There are plants out there that have a lot of carbohydrates and sugars and stuff in them that you can eat and that your body can digest, but you have to know how to prepare them to make them palatable. which means in order to get them past your taste buds. Yeah, exactly, Dad. And, you know, they start on the squishy parts first. You know, they start with the tongue, the gums, the lips, the eyeballs. They crawl down the throat and start eating the guts. They don't eat the meat first. I only eat no rat in the apocalypse. Maybe a few years after the apocalypse, be some big fat juicy ones. Might be a good deal. But during the apocalypse, well, I don't even want to touch one. I mean, heaven forbid one of those fleas jump off of you and takes a bite of you, then whatever happened to the guy the rat was eating just might happen to you, or worse. It's 20-pound bag of rice is like $13. Half tank. And an 8-pound bag of beans is like $9 or something like that. For $20 or $22, you can get. Hey!
She was a slave.
I know.
Sadie was a slave.
Okay. Y'all gonna let that dog out to walk? Come here, girl. You're not in trouble, but you can't be beating up on the pup every chance you get.
Come on.
You know what's that, Sadie? Come see. You don't do it, will you? You don't do it, will you? I don't think so. Hey, Billy Bob and Jackalope. I'm sorry the puppy stepped on your face while you was taking your nap. Is it too cold to be outside garden stuff? Huh? Okay. No kisses. Go lay down. Go lay down. Go lay down. Go lay down.
Okay, so let's talk to me.
Do what? New subject besides eating rats. Okay, hey, you don't eat the turkey either, Sadie. Look, she was in there sniffing them. Caught her. Don't lick them either. That's better. These. Brought this up here on purpose. This is my biggest sweet potato this year. Water, dirt, and sunlight. You can eat the roots. You can eat the leaves. One sweet potato, you put it in a deal of water, set it in the window, keep it nice and warm and sunny and stuff, and it'll just start making plants. You break the plant off, you put it in a cup of water, it makes its own roots. You put it in the dirt, and then it makes more of these. Yeah. Learn to grow stuff. Find out what will grow in your area the best. Learn to eat what you can grow. Pumpkin. Pumpkin's my number next. I'm going to try pumpkin next year. Pumpkin is not delicious by any stretch of the imagination. Pumpkin can be cooked and eaten. So, I will learn to grow pumpkin. Will you catch me making jack-o'-lanterns and stuff like that? Probably not. But It'd be really nice to be able to grow. I know I can grow winter squash. Jerome. You're welcome, Jerome. Have a good night. Thanks for stopping by. Try different things. Don't just like, oh, well, I like green beans and corn. I give up on corn. I ain't going to try to grow corn ever again. I'm not a corn guy. I can't grow corn. If corn was the only thing I could grow and I had to grow corn or starve to death, I would just starve to death. I would just start eating rocks and be happy. I would just die with a belly full of rocks. I've tried corn for 4 years in a row. You know how many ears of corn I've gotten out of my garden? That's 0. That's not okay. It's 0. Tried different kinds of corn. Tried watering them every day. Tried planting them earlier, later. I just can't grow corn. Corn hates me. Corn hates me, honey. I can grow squash, though. I can grow squash and okra and tomato. Black-eyed peas. I can grow black-eyed peas. I can grow potatoes. I can grow sweet potatoes. So I'm okay. I like sweet potatoes and potatoes now. And okra. Okra is my friend. Okra, sweet potatoes, black-eyed peas, squash. Those are my friends. Trying to think. But the downside to the sweet potatoes is we had to water the snot out of them this year. Huh?
Yeah.
We had to literally almost every day.
Well, there for a while it was twice a day.
Yeah, for twice a day. And in a grid down situation, that's, yeah. Black-eyed peas, it's the beauty of them. If you can get them in early and stuff, they'll grow up, they'll make one crop. And if you're lucky and get some summer rains, you can get the next ones up and they'll make up into the fall. And as long as they can get the second batch on them before the frost comes or whatever. In this part of the world, I'm talking this part of the world. Hey, Steve. But it's hard enough to grow things in a garden in a modern world. That's why everybody's settled in river valleys. I mean, that's why river valleys were always the first place to go. Because it was, yeah, it's fertile, but when they had to haul water to keep their garden alive, they didn't try to keep their field alive. But I bet there were times that they hauled water to their garden. The well system and stuff in Egypt that they still use, in the Middle East and stuff. When was that built? And that was built to water gardens and livestock. Well, I already said you like Steve's comment. Okay. Kitten enchiladas. It's that something. I mean, people have, I don't know. My ancestors kept dogs around to clean up the table scraps and to have something to eat when times got hard. That was it. A well-trained dog could carry 20 or 30 pounds. They weren't, they were kind of cool animals that, would keep the mice and the rats down and stuff, and eat the table scraps that you threw at them, and be happy that they had a place to sleep and stuff, and let you use them for slaves. Hello, Lily. Terry. I didn't see Terry.
If any of y'all have ever been to China, oh, yeah.
Nope. Don't know how to grow peanuts. There's some peanut farmers around here. There's actually better growing land. I mean, it's more fertile for gardening and vegetables and the stuff like that. They got better groundwater, the whole 9 yards. Man, there's more oil field over there. I want to move out of the oil patch. I don't want to be in this mess if the grid goes down. I mean, everything's going to die. I mean, we're okay where we're at as far as some of it goes or whatever, but moving from point A to point B from where we're at, we'll have to go through the low spots, and that could be lethal.
I want those Japanese beans or whatever that Abriva was showing.
Oh yeah, the Abriva put out the Japanese
like long
bean or whatever.
Oh. I would love to try to get those growing.
Well, and that's something else. I mean, people got their chonies in a wad around here about the people butchering horses. Later, Dad, it's a animal that eats grass. If it's raised for meat, it's cattle. If your horse is raised as a pet and stuff like that, it's different. I mean, I don't expect you to eat your poodle, but what's that Chinese dog? The one, brown dog with the black nose that's red. I mean, we're bred and raised for food. It's a food animal. It's livestock. Hey, good night, Hillbilly. All right, Half Tank, thanks for stopping by. Yeah, Japanese long beetle is bad news, but Abriva put out a video about is Abriva? Is that the whole channel name? Abriva. It's a green bean, but the beans are like, whoa. I mean, they're like a foot long, and these things can take the heat like crazy. I mean, they do okay in 100-degree temperatures and stuff like that. And they produce like crazy, and the beans are good. So I need to get some of those seeds. I want to try those next year, see how they work. And be careful, though.
And I'm subscribed to Abriva, and I don't have very many people that I subscribe to. So if they want to try to find Abriva, they can.
Yeah, if I'd have to lose the chat and stuff, but go to Mrs. S's channel and look on her subscription. She doesn't have a lot of people she subscribe to, but Abriva's in there. And check out the, I mean, he does a lot of good videos, actually. He's a tiny channel.
Maybe
So,
60 or something.
60 subscribers or whatever. Yes. The guinea pigs are kept, they're literally kept as house pets, and they're served as the entree when they have company. Just the way it is. They're edible garbage disposal. And you want something that breeds faster than rabbits? There you go. Well, they let her out and then haven't let her back in, so she's out there harassing the chickens.
No, you were talking about the guinea pigs. When we had guinea pigs, they multiplied like crazy.
Oh, yeah. We just took cages, however many freaking guinea pigs we had. We walked into the pet store, set them down, said, "You want these?" We don't. She's still selling guinea pigs from the same bunch. She can't sell guinea pigs fast enough to keep her stock down. Prolific guinea pigs. We had prolific guinea pigs. It's dead. I never eaten a guinea pig. I don't know what they taste like. Yeah, guinea pigs will learn your voice and they'll actually talk to you. They'll coo and bark or whatever. They're really sweet animals, but geez, they got no morals. Yeah, guinea pigs are a food animal. They're not. First world countries think guinea pigs are pets. Okay. People come over here and they're like, "You got a what?" "I got a pet guinea pig." That's not a pet. That's livestock. Like a pet rabbit. Why would you have a pet rabbit? I mean, you grow rabbits for food. You know, so it's like having a pet cow. What do you mean you have a pet cow? Cows are food. A pet goat. What do you mean you have a pet goat? Goats are food. Pigs. Pigs are not pets. Pigs are food. Goats are food. Deer are food. Cows are food. You should not play with your food. I mean, there's nothing wrong with making your food feel loved and welcome. You know, nothing wrong with letting your livestock have a good and happy, healthy lifestyle while they're kicking it. But, you know, don't forget that they're livestock and they're going to kick it one day so you can barbecue it. That's what they're for. It's not cold. It's not insensitive. It's not inhuman. It's not barbaric. It's just the way it is. Food is food. Skunks are not food, and they're not pets. Skunks are a good way to wind up missing livestock and catching hydrophobia and stinking really bad for several weeks. We had a huge flock of chickens, but we're having to start over. We had gotten our flock to where we wanted it. I mean, we were getting large eggs across the board. Well, large and medium. Had hens that would rotate out. Hens would lay every other day, so we got about the same number of eggs every day. We weren't overloading the hens. And then they were sterile. They were chemically sterilized by a commercial spraying operation. Good night, Lily. Who told Lily what? Ah, your wife's chicken's business, and that's between you and her.
I love chicken and rice and eating baby chickens.
Yeah, I love the baby chickens are an excellent browning agent for your cakes. Did you know that? Yeah. Ah. We're killing chickens that have names, people. Because this is supposed to be a self-sustaining operation. It's not an animal rescue. I wish I was financially independent and we could just go buy another chunk of dirt, build a different chicken house, and just get a different flock and let these birds die of old age. That would tickle me to pink because they were good birds. We fought really hard to keep them healthy and happy and alive. Gave up many a weekend to build chicken coops and repair shades and build brooding pens and run underground water and put in misting systems to keep them cool and put a crap load of time into that flock. Sat right here in this living room and watched a bunch of those birds hatch out of eggs. But realistically, allowing them to become my feather babies means that I will starve alongside my feather babies. It's not my plan. My plan is for my feather babies, aka breakfast, lunch, and dinner, to earn their keep.
Yeah, that makes sense. Since the dogs killed all her chickens, she guards the last one.
Yes.
And that makes sense.
That makes sense. Oh man, ooh. Nothing allowed to kill a chicken around here but me. And I'll see if I can get the wife to get a video of it or whatever. I'll let y'all see how the birds act. They're horrified of me. They're terrified of me. They don't even like. Mama duck is going down. The chemical damaged their lungs, and they're dying. It's just the way it is. We don't have the money for a lawyer to fight one of the richest farmers in the county to get him to replace our flock. And you can't replace it anyway. I mean, there's a certain monetary value on it, but I'm not the kind of person that sues somebody. I just
when you
not.
look at if you buy a laying hen, it's at least $50, and you multiply that by 150. That'd have been a lot of money.
A lot of money.
Even though when you initially buy them, they're $2 babies. You invest all that
time and feed and everything.
Time. I mean,
well, the chocolate eggs, the hens that did the chocolate eggs or whatever, depending on what the lineage is, those birds can go for $600 a piece.
Well, no, but the ones I bought were only $12 a piece.
Yeah.
As babies.
As babies. So I paid $12 a piece for a baby chicken. No guarantee they made it. Not all of them did. An adult laying hen from a same breed of chicken, different flock, $600. I mean, they're show quality birds. People show chickens.
Well, this time we will know that the chemical, if they plant the hay again, we will know that the chemical is dangerous. So we will close up the coop instead of letting the chickens be out in the yard.
And we'll make sure that, and I'll tell them, hey, last time y'all had the hay, y'all sprayed, and the wind was coming towards our property, and you killed all our birds. We just let it go because it was an accident, but we won't do that this time. If they know about it ahead of time and they go ahead and make the mistake of spraying like that, then somebody will have to replace the herd this time, or the flock this time. Well, we had leghorns. What's the real word for wild mama? What is she? Freaking, I don't know, some high dollar chicken.
I don't know. She's some kind of game chicken, but I don't remember.
Anyway, we crossed our leghorns with a game chicken who lays large white eggs. Doesn't lay as frequently as a leghorn.
Yeah.
But
we had everything.
We had all kinds of chicken. But our leghorn batch we had, they were laying. They would each chicken would average 4 eggs a week, but they were extra large eggs. And they would eat, roost, get up, lay their egg, eat, roost, get out. They'd walk around, do their thing or whatever. They were really good layers. There was no meat on them. A leghorn has no meat. They put all of their energy into the eggs. So the idea was to get the other breed in there to where they wouldn't lay all their eggs in the first 2 years and be done. Up until the time Wild Mama got maced with this stuff, she was laying, she'd lay 4 to 5 eggs a day, or a week, and she was 3 years old. Okay. We were expecting her to slack off on the laying or whatever, but when that stuff hit, boom, it didn't slack off. It was ended. She's actually recovered her lungs and stuff. And most of the leghorn crosses that with her, with the rooster that we got with her, recovered. They're just not laying. Whatever happened, it turned off the ovaries on the chickens, and they're not going to lay, I don't guess, ever again.
The dual purpose are the best ones.
Yeah. Well,
we had our leghorns just because.
Yeah.
Like I said, we had so many.
We had so many different kinds.
We had over 30 breeds of chickens.
The best meat chickens are meat chickens. The dual purpose chickens, like the dadgummit, the Golden Star or Sex-Linked chicken, Domineckers, but Domineckers go broody. And it's weird. The bigger the chicken, you'd think the bigger the meat chicken. A meat chicken, the ones that make meat as opposed to eggs, will lay smaller eggs. They will lay fewer and smaller eggs. You either get meat or you get eggs. That's the trade-off. The bird can be geared to produce eggs, or it can be geared to produce meat. The big broilers will start laying. They'll actually start laying before any others will, but they'll only lay for about 2 months before they succumb to their own body weight. And literally are crippled.
Jabroni asked, have you ever looked into the beef gills of chickens? So, no, we have not.
No, we have not. CM, check with your county and make sure somebody's building a fence on your a fence. LS. That's what I meant. What did I say? CM. Oh, sorry. LS. Oh, she puts LS. Put CM. Sorry. LS. Check. Make sure where your property line is. If it's your property line or whatever, cut the fence. And just pull the stakes and throw them back on their side.
See, we had Duck Orpingtons too. I love the colors of them.
Yeah, the buffs are good chickens. But again, medium-sized eggs, medium to large eggs, and not like a whole bunch. That's what, like 160, 180 eggs a year. No, 200 something eggs a year, something like that.
We had Sussex too. We had,
yeah.
It's pretty much, unless it was a really high dollar breed, we had it.
We had some of those too.
A couple of them.
We had some bannies that were laying pretty good for a while, and then they just, boom, they quit. They were laying like crazy, and then they just never laid again. They went broody once, and then they just never laid again.
See, and we had Cornish rocks, but I just can't do that. That's just wrong. For one thing, they're genetically modified. I don't like that. But truth.
Hey, Truth Freeze. Not Papa Prep. Hey, you got to be careful with the neighbors or whatever. That's why we want to buy the land we want, and we want to put our own fence up. And I strongly suggest if there was a marker, you build a fence. You don't just take theirs down, you put your own up. All right, good night, Jeff. And that's the other thing. You need to to learn the difference between a pullet and a cockerel if you're going to do chicken. And when the as soon as you know it's a rooster, don't let it get full grown. Don't be like, well, I'm going to let it grow all the way up and then I'll eat it. A rooster will spend all of its energy impressing the ladies. All it will do is grow bone and feathers. At about 4.5, 5 months, you know it's a rooster, put it in the freezer. It's going to be, there's not going to be as much meat, but it's going to be tender and better. Easier to pluck, the whole 9 yards. And you didn't waste a bunch of feed.
You can't castrate roosters, it's illegal here.
You can't castrate roosters anymore. You cannot do chemical castration.
And I think anywhere in the United States it's illegal. But I know for sure Texas, but I think anywhere in the United States.
Yeah. So, I mean, because we used to do it when I was a kid, and you can't do that anymore. It was real simple. It was a nick on the comb, a tablet, and some blood stop, and no more boy chicken. And the chicken would just grow meat and fat. It would go fat and lazy. You could do it for a couple of cents, and then put 2 pounds worth of meat on the bird before you put it in the freezer. Can't do that anymore. Don't know why.
I know it is here, CM.
It is. Yes, caponizing is illegal now, so you know. It's something that made sense. It's like I get a lot of comments on my deal. Why aren't you taking your birds to the vet and getting anesthesia and this, that? Because it's not economically feasible. If I have to pay $50 every time one of my birds gets well, even 30, I think it'd be like $30. If I have to pay $30 every time my bird gets bumblefoot.
Well, we would have to go to another town. There's no telling how far we'd have to travel to get to an avian vet.
It would. We'd have to go to Temple. That's how far.
Right, CM.
Yes, and that's something else. Now you can take the bird to the vet. You can get the bird to the vet to castrate your birds. You can pay $20 to have your bird castrated.
Sean, that I just stumbled across you. How good is that sandhill cream?
Delicious. My wife doesn't like very many meats, and she found it to be very palatable. She said the texture and the flavor were both very agreeable. So I thought it was the bomb. I loved it. I'm hopefully going to go out and relieve the sky of a couple more tomorrow. It's super easy to do. The chemical one is. But some bleeding heart was like, oh, that poor animal. And they're the same ones that made it to where you're not supposed to do the knife castration on the goats and the sheep or whatever. You're supposed to band them. When you band a lamb or a kid, little Billy, they literally go lay down and they don't move for hours because of the pain. You can use the pocket knife and do it and drop some powder on their spot. They're up and moving around in a few minutes. Which one hurts more? Does not taste like chicken. It the closest thing I can put it to is pigeon.
Well, and the meat has a texture like a roast.
Yeah, the texture is that of beef, and the flavor is that of, I don't know. It doesn't have, it's not gamey at all. It's not even as gamey as turtle as a morning dove is. It doesn't need the soaking or anything like that. It I let it stand in just regular water for about 3 hours. You know, it was in the fridge for four days, and then from the fridge to water for about 4 hours. Then from the water to the pot, and uh, I honestly, the way it come out, I don't think it was necessary to do the water. I think I'm not, other than the tender, making the meat a little bit more tender. I don't think you'd have to wait. I think you could shoot it, cook it, and eat it. It would probably be tough, but the leg was super tough. The leg meat was super tough. I'm not gonna argue that point with anybody. Um, Roasted the breast in the oven for about 3 hours. Cooked it on low for 3 hours, and it was not tender, but it was not tough. It was a little on the dry side. I think ideally, I think the next time a fella should probably pluck the bird if he was going to roast it. Pluck it and cook it with the skin on, and perhaps do you know, some, inject a little bit of melted butter or something into the breast meat, just something to oil it up and tenderize it a little bit. But it was good. Yeah, that's really, we didn't have a hard time finding a place to hunt at all up there. They was like, hey, I got weed over here, I got weed over here, I got weed over here. I mean, where I got the bird, the guy was actually let us go camp on one of his pivots by the wheat field. And the other spot we went, um, was just adjacent to a wheat field or whatever. Most humane way to kill. What are we killing? Truth Freeze? Exactly, Rooster. Um, the absolutely most humane way to end a chicken's life is the broom method, if that's what you're asking about. And the most humane way to kill a wild game bird is to spend the money at the skeet range shooting clays, so you'll know how to bring a bird down when you shoot at it. Chickens. It's called Google it. It's the broom method. You hold the bird by its feet. You lower it to the ground to where its head touches the ground. You lay a broom handle across its neck. Put a foot on either side. And then as soon as you pin its head to the ground, which you do firmly, you lift. And just one smooth moment, one smooth movement, just do it. And it severs the skull from the spinal cord. It's over with. That fast. I mean, it's lights up. I have a friend that makes his living catching live pigeons just so rich folks can shoot them. These people will pay $6 to $15 a bird just to shoot them or shoot at them. They don't even shoot most of them. They don't pick them up and do anything with them. They just kill them.
The blood comes out when you pop off the head.
Yeah, when you actually, the head stays on the ground. You pull, you stand up and you pull. You separate the chicken's head from the chicken's body. It's not like when you wring their neck and you might not twist the spinal cord all the way in two, and then all the blood stays in the neck or whatever. This, you pull its head off, the head dies, and the body pumps all the blood out the veins, and the body dies. The pain is over. It's I won't do. There's no reason to do the birds any other way ever again. I've done ringing, pulling, chopping, the whole 9 yards. Matter of fact, I need to go in, and I have a video on there where my first video where I was still doing the ring and the neck thing before we found out about the broom method. I need to take that down. People don't need to do that. That's, yeah. Now, bird shot at, 22 caliber bird shot at 10 feet to the back of the head works good too. If you can't catch the bird. $500,000 just ate. Getting the blood out of the meat makes it taste better. The end. I don't ever want to eat a goat that hasn't been butchered. Takes them a second to wink out, but it's all the blood's gone and the meat is delicious.
And the machete's fine if you can do that. It's hard for me to do.
The machete thing is, was fine, but I'll do the broom method because that one time when I was doing the ducks and I missed, I only got half the brain.
Yeah.
And I had to do it again because the duck didn't die. Yeah, not doing that again.
They are the rats of the bird world, but I tell you, there are people around here sure do make a living off of them.
Yeah, some expensive rats around here. I wish I could get a permit to go over there and trap in Alabama and Georgia and all around in there. That's crazy pitches over there. Never seen so many pitches in my whole life. Yes, there's none. I mean, it's people to call them this, that, and everything. People call chickens yard birds. I know people that won't eat chickens because they know what they eat. Chickens and hogs, they eat the same thing. Chickens eat anything that's slow enough or too slow to get away from them. If you die of a heart attack in the chicken yard, the chicken's going to peck your eyeballs out. They're going to eat you. They don't care. They're gonna eat your ears, they're gonna eat your eyeballs, they're gonna eat your lips, they're gonna eat your gums, they're gonna eat your toenails, they're gonna eat everything. Anything that they can peck off, they're gonna eat. I'm not eating a seagull. Oh, I don't have to eat a seagull. Any of the birds that eat meat, that, like scavengers or whatever like that, like seagulls or uh, crow. Yeah, yuck.
Chickens would be biblical.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. They are biblically clean.
Chickens are biblically clean. They're technically fowl of the air or whatever. Chickens can't eat your bones or whatever. I killed her. And yeah, to get rid of human remains, you just run it through the tree shredder thing and feed it to the pigs. Problem solved. Turned into pig poop. Good luck with them Barbie dolls, man. Stupid things won't stand a fence for nothing. The door crop sheep are a pretty good deal. They're more laid back than the Barbados sheep are. I would rather have sheep because goats are annoying. Goats are too daggum intelligent for their own good. Yeah, the chickens that die in the eggplants, they go down a line and they get ground up and they're fed back to the other chickens. Just FYI. Well, wool will be worth a lot anyway. I don't know about priceless, but it's going to be worth a lot. I don't want wool-bearing sheep. I don't. But I've never known anybody to be able to tame out Barbie dolls either. You can gentle up the Dorpers. They still a little flighty or whatever, but yeah, if you've got we got a good. But if they ever find a way in or out, they'll keep at it. I honestly think them ones I think they dug that hole to get out. Chicken farms are growth. Oh. Crane bullets. Ready, set, go. Crane bullets. Crane gun. I think it's Sue Woods. See, I thought it was Sean Woods, just with a different new name, but evidently I was wrong. I'm glad I didn't say nothing. Anyways, thumbs up, everybody. You don't mind. I'm beat. Like, walked all over the county today, feels like. Hold on. If I can remember how it's spelled. Yeah, how was that spelled? Door. Hold on. Let me Google it real quick. I'll be right back.
Dorper there is a Dorper, and then there's the Dorper. Dorper is D-O-R-P-E-R.
D-O-R-P-E-R. Dun, dun, dun. I can't remember how I spelled the door crawl. They're the good ones though. Here we go. Yeah, it's you got the Dorper, D-O-R-P-E-R, or there's a cross, which was developed in the United States, which is D-O-R-C-R-O-I-X.
D-O-R-P-C-R-O-I-X was the one that Bill started.
D-O-R-P-C-R-O-I-X.
Yes.
Yes.
Those were the ones started by Bill.
Yeah, those were actually developed locally with us. I'm talking acres and acres of giant sheep. It's a Saint Croix, which is, Saint ST space CROIX is a hair sheep. Then you got Barbados sheep, which are a pain in the neck, or you've got the Dorper, which is DORPER. And I've this one I've never heard of, Katahdin. But anyway, yep, those ones.
Sue asked how Lee was. I can't type off.
Sue.
That S. Woods asked how Lee was.
Okay. Liz, good. The doctor was talking about weaning him, and so he started it. And so anyway, long story short, he had a little bit of a seizure, so he's back to not getting to drive, but he's still working and everything. He's just getting chauffeured around. His health is good. He's still got work he's got to do with fighting this. They did not get all of the tumor. They could not take all of the tumor, not without taking a lot of him with it. So They got to keep monitoring and everything. This is something he's going to beat it, but he's still fighting it. So, yeah, he's good. He's still in good spirits and everything. He doesn't like the medication he's on because it makes him fuzzy-headed and a little bit lethargic. Basically, he walks around acting like he's burnt out or whatever. And that's not him. He's usually very gregarious, open, and energetic individual. And he really wants to get back to that, which he will eventually. But anyway, yeah, he's good. Thank you for asking. Keep praying. What are you doing, Minion?
I'm going to nap, friend. And the medicine that I take that's similar to the one that Leland's on for his seizures and stuff makes me feel like shit, not like it either. So
Well, they don't want this part of his brain to grow back. The other parts, whatever, but where they stopped cutting, they need it not to grow back. That's what some of the chemicals that he's on are for, is to keep that piece of his brain from growing back. The beauty of it is I don't think there's a couple of different mutations on this particular cancer. One of them actually takes over existing brain tissue, which it spreads like a cancer through the brain. And there's not a whole lot you can do about it, and it kills you. And that's not what he got. He got the one that will pick a spot on the brain. It's the same thing, but for whatever reason, this mutation grows and pushes the other brain out of the way. It will slowly put more roots into the brain, if you will. But mostly it wants to grow its own little part of the brain, make its own little world up or whatever. So, and he get lucky, and that's what it was that he got. So they were able to remove it, and basically it'll just try to grow back into the void. But it grows really, really, really slow. So the doctor says he should be able to grow old without worrying about it. Yeah. He's doing pretty good. He survived 2 brain surgeries. It's not my job to ask. Oh, Rooster, and I missed something. Dude, it's harsh, man. I hate cancer with passion. Cancer has literally taken all the best people in my life. So I don't like it at all. Don't like lung cancer. Don't like brain cancer. Don't like breast cancer. Don't like kidney cancer. Don't like bone cancer. What are we trying to put up? You can email it to me, Sue. This is seriously nothing personal, but I'm real careful with my wrenches. I had some wrenches that were blocking people from my channel that were very, very old and trusted subscribers, and are not blocking them, but hiding them or whatever. So if you email it to me, which I can give you my email. I don't mind checking it out. Be careful, behave yourself. Does he have to work tomorrow?
Yeah.
Oh. No, you better go. Yeah, and that'll work too. I can watch it there. So I hate that. I mean, I had to go in and I don't know who was doing it, but I had to pull a lot of wrenches. And, yeah, it's annoying. So live and learn. But been on here for a couple hours or hour and a half, or doesn't matter. I've got a video down here that is done processing now. I've got to upload it and schedule it for release so y'all can see it. It's some like totally random chunks of video that I happened to take while we were hunting and stuck together. It's not going to be educational. I don't even know if it's going to be worth watching, but it'll be there if y'all want to see it. We've got two others. One of them's going to go for Patreon, and the other one, it'll be on YouTube. The stuff I put on Patreon, seriously, most of it it's unlocked. That you don't have to pay to see it. There's some of it that is locked or whatever, because I don't want people going over there and like stirring stuff up like they do on YouTube. So the catch and cook video, I haven't redone it yet. I've got it where I've saved it in a way where I can go in and re-edit it so you can see all the blood and gore and everything if you want to, but that'll be on Patreon. I can't do the catch and cooks and show you. I cannot gut a fish on YouTube. It's not allowed. I can't skin a raccoon on YouTube. It's not allowed. I tried. Can't process a goat on YouTube. It's not allowed. I tried. Can't process a hog on YouTube. It's not allowed. I tried. I got away with a couple of them early on when I was a little bitty channel, but when I busted the 1,000 people mark or whatever, I lost 30-something videos. There it is. So some of them, they just age restricted them and stuff, but a lot of them, they just went away. So there's a reason I had to edit that one. If you run across my channel and you see something in there that's got just the outlines in the video, chances are it has a sister video on Patreon that you can watch if you want to see it. If you want to watch me gut skin and gut a porcupine, it's on Patreon. The one bit of advice I can give you about cooking porcupine: do not forget to take clean water or your water filter. Because if you do, you have to boil it with lake water, and then it's going to taste like lake water, which actually wasn't that bad. Anyway. You betcha. And see, yeah, Just is one of my patrons. And that's, you know, I think I've got one video that's set at $10, but that's because it was I got one $10 patron, and I set it for him. I don't think anybody else would get a kick out of it. I don't do Patreon for the money. I did it because, you know, there's one on there. I believe it's still on there. It ain't for the squeamish people. It shows the whole process of doing a goat the way you're supposed to do a goat, and it is not for the squeamish. No, rooster doesn't work. And we've already had the wrench wars on here. Wrenches can't ban wrenches or whatever. I did get timed out of my own chat one time. That was kind of funny. I've got a couple other channels, and one of them's Small Onion, which is a joke. You have to go back to one of BA's early videos with, I think it's one of their first giveaways they did. They were doing it was a last man standing deal. So when they were pulling the names out, and it was the last name they read won instead of the whatever. And I was like I almost made it. I made it almost like I was down to the last three. And anyway, she pulls out, or no, it was out the first one. Anyway, she pulls it out, and she read Small Onion. And this generation, oh no, it's Wes S. So, I mean, people were calling me Small Onion for 2 weeks straight after that. So I just made a Small Onion channel. So that's the whole Small Onion thing. If you see Small Onion pop in to one of the chats, it's just me. Small Onion is a grouchy old redneck dude that wears bib overalls. He's my alter ego. I like Small Onion. I could play Small Onion from here on out. He gets away with murder. So, God bless y'all. Y'all, thanks for hanging out with me. Y'all share the love if anybody wants subscribers or whatever. And y'all check each other's stuff out there. Something out there, people, you just might get a little bit of an education from some people. And other people might truly impress you with their fortitude and their legitimate desire to expand their horizons. God bless y'all. Y'all stay alive. Don't die. I will see y'all Tuesday, 7-ish. And the only reason I'm going to see you Tuesday is because I do a live stream on Tuesday, and that's all. That's the only reason for Tuesday nights. There's no other reason. I don't care what anybody says. All right. Love y'all.